Where's that belong? Okay. Let's drop that. Take these. This is the rest we're working out. And we'll call for these 5 climbing. E-Production, one of the most hotly contested production sports car racing classes of the Sports Car Club of America, is on the grid, and there is a big story in qualifying. John Osteen is the pole sitter. From Cincinnati, Ohio, his Porsche Speedster carries number 98, and he brings 4 national racing wins in 1980 to Road Atlanta. On the outside pole is Paul Brand of Minneapolis, Minnesota, in an MGB, car number 22. Joe Cogbill of Gilliland, Georgia, number 68, a Porsche, is 3rd. Dan Gilliland of Ann Arbor, Michigan, in a Porsche, is 4th, car number 19. 5th, Bill Allen of Kennesaw, Georgia, in a Porsche, number 80. In the 6th spot is Mike Finney of Lexington, Ohio, with an MG, number 44. 7th starter, Bob Kirby of Oceanside, California. His Porsche carries number 20. And in 8th spot, Vic Skurmans of Warren, Michigan, in a Porsche, number 76. 9th is Dwayne Anderson of La Habra, California, in an MGB. And 10th is Dave Coleman of Tulsa, Oklahoma, in an Alfa Romeo. Way back in rows number 11 and 12, Bob Overby of Jacksonville, Florida, is the 1978 and 1979 national champion in this class. He attempted to qualify Wednesday, but his car was declared illegal with rear suspension problems, and he had to requalify Thursday in the rain. There is Overby, car number 39 out of Jacksonville, Florida. He's the defending champion. Likewise, John Kelly of Gaithersburg, Maryland, will start right behind Overby in 23rd spot. Kelly's car, number 34. He is the national champion 3 times, though not in this class, taking championships in 68, 70, and 73. And Kelly will go from post position number 23. So 2 good battles, working up from the back of the field to challenge pole sitters, front row sitters, John Osteen of Ohio and Paul Brand of Minnesota, both of whom bring 4 wins in the SCCA Nationals racing to Road Atlanta and the national championships here today.
As you can see, some of these cars in this race are real classics in their own right. The car on the front there, a Porsche Speedster, John Osteen's car, worth a lot of money on the open market. And quite frankly, these guys have got to be careful racing these cars. There's some smoke from one of those cars at the back of the grid.
And the green is on, and jumping out in front is John Osteen in that ancient Porsche Speedster. Dropping in line as they go to turn number 1, Paul Brand, the white and green MG. Into turn number 1, and it is Osteen opening up a margin quickly. The field goes single file. We'll be watching Overby and Kelly as the 18 laps of E-Production wears on to watch them move up through the field.
That's Joseph Cogbill's come through into 2nd place, displacing Paul Brand, having a go on the outside of him around that turn. A bit tricky. You can see the clay on the track there makes it very slick if you get too far offline.
Cogbill, the yellow automobile, running into 2nd position. He started 3rd, directly behind the team on the grid. Running in 4th spot, Dan Gilliland, right where he qualified. That's car number 19, a Porsche 914.
Well, there we see Overby has already made up quite a handful of places.
Bob Overby, defending national champion, started way back in 22nd position along with John Kelly.
There you see him breaking into that right-hander, taking another place away.
As the leaders come out of the hook at the south end of the race course, John Osteen, car number 98, at the head of the field, right on his bumper, is Joe Cogbill and Paul Brand. 2 Porsches and an MGB lead this E-Production National Championship race. Car number 19, Dan Gilliland, sits in the 4th spot, and 5th, also running where he qualified, is car number 80, Bill Allen.
The might of Britain now challenging the might of Germany. Paul Brand, back under the bridge, using up plenty of road, all trying to miss those speed bumps that upset these lightweight cars.
One lap completed, the first of 18. It is John Osteen at the head of the field, driving out of Cincinnati, Ohio, in a Porsche Speedster. Osteen is 36 years old, and he was probably David.
Osteen got the thing really sideways there, as did Cogbill behind him. That may have given Paul Brand a bit of a breather, and Overby has moved up to 12th place as they cross the line here. So look for some action from Overby. He'll be coming to sight in a minute.
Bob Overby, car number 39, has picked up 10 positions since the green flag dropped just a lap and a half ago. The front three begin to put some separation on the field. Osteen the leader, Cogbill in second, and Brand, the third place car, 2 Porsches and an MG.
There's Overby taking another place. That must move him up to 10th, 11th.
Overby has wasted no time. He had one of the fastest cars in the field, twice champion, including the last 2 years. But had to qualify in the rain after his qualifying time from Wednesday was thrown out. There is Overby going into the hook at the south end of the race course.
The three leaders, Osteen, Cogbill, Paul Brand, and MGB hanging on there, giving the 2 Porsches a good run for their money. And these three seem to be breaking away from the field. The big question is, can Bob Overby catch them up if they do make a breakthrough? Well, we see a TR3, car number 14.
That car must date back to the mid-50s, David.
Probably dates back almost as far as I do.
Bob Overby has moved up to the 9th position. That TR3 belongs to Hardy Prentice, who towed it here with his Jaguar.
All the way from San Francisco, so it won't suffer from the body rot so many cars do.
Front three across the start-finish line and hit for turn number 1. Wide margin on the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th position.
Overby up to 9th place now, but there's an ominous gap coming behind those front 3 cars, and he's going to want to get up there before long, because these are really short races. They're only 18 laps, 45 odd miles, and you just don't have a second chance.
Leader John Osteen beginning to open up his lead ever slightly as they come uphill through the S's. Joe Cogbill, car number 68, in the 2nd position. And Paul Brand, number 22 in 3rd. Here is Bob Overby. He is closing on Mike Pitting of Lexington, Ohio. Overby last posting in the 9th position. Moving in on the 8th place car as they go down that short chute towards the hook.
There we see part of the crowd here at Road Atlantic enjoying some sunshine, although a bit of a brisk day. Osteen still in the lead. Osteen actually qualified over a second quicker than the nearest guy next to him, which was in fact Paul Brand and MG running 3rd now. So it's not all that surprising that he's managing to ease away from his 2 pursuers.
Front 3 cars and a good margin on the field. They disappeared out at the end of the back straightaway and heading toward the bridge.
Down to the dip. Car bottoming out there, shooting up towards the bridge, braking hard, right, changing down under the bridge, and coming into view here, going downhill again, shifting up speed up here. And that fast right-hander that leads to start-finish line. This corner's seen a lot of action in its time, and you can see these guys using every inch of road.
Osteen has a 1.6-second margin on the rest of the field. And Bob Overby has now climbed to the 8th position.
Paul Brand having a go at Joe Cogbill as they go up the hill there into 3. Who's going to come out ahead? And it's Paul Brand has taken away 2nd spot.
Brand, the outside pole sitter, has moved back into 2nd position, and as they dice, it gives John Osteen a chance to pull away.
It could be, of course, that Cogbill was in fact holding Brand up. It's very difficult for people to understand that, but it's very difficult to pass these on the racetrack. And now he's got through, he may in fact put some daylight between himself and Cogbill and close that gap to John Osteen.
One car into the pits, car number 57 is Randy Lanier of Pembroke Pines, Florida. His blue, yellow, orange, and red trim Porsche Speedster will call it a day at the side of pit road.
I don't see anything particularly wrong with it. There's Osteen coming out onto the main straight again. Paul Brand trying to make up that gap.
We've been following Bob Overby's move up through the field and that of John Kelly. Kelly has moved up to the 13th position. He started back in the 23rd spot. As the front 3 move to the end of the back straightaway, Bob Overby has been picking them off.
Quite a gap there. John Osteen is in fact pulling away from Paul Brand and Joe Cogbill. Joe Cogbill having another go at Paul Brand as they go under the bridge. A good overtaking place that, but you've got to do it right. Because if you get it wrong, you can fly off the road with a great rate of knots. So Cogbill takes back 2nd place. Paul Brand running a very close 3rd.
Heading for turn number 1, we have completed 4 of 18 laps in E production. The chase for second is on again.
Whoa, Cogbill really overcooked it there. You can see he braked too late, locked up those inside wheels, gave Paul Brand the second place back again.
Bob Overby has moved to the 4th position and continues to gain ground.
In fact, Cogbill hasn't appeared. Oh, here he comes now, very slowly, right on the top of the picture there. He must have struck in some sort of trouble.
Here is Bob Overby, the defending national champion. He has moved up through the field and is now reported as being in the 4th position. Overby coming uphill through the S's has moved past number 19, Van Gilliland, who qualified 4th and has run there since the start of the event. And we did just see then briefly John Kelly, who started on the back of the grid with Overby, coming into the pits. So his run up through the field looks like it's ended. 1 and 2, Osteen and Paul Brand running the way they qualified. And Overby is off course. Bob Overby is off the racetrack up in the back part of the circuit.
That looks like turn 5.
And there also is Joe Cogbill.
Yeah, he obviously had trouble when Brand overtook him at turn 1 just a few moments ago there. And
Cogbill has fired the race car and moved away as we go back to the head of the field and John Osteen. So Bob Overby, defending national champion, is off the course.
John Osteen coming up to complete his 5th lap. And Bob Overby well and truly off the course and obviously not being able to get his car restarted.
1-2, Osteen and Brand. The Asian Corpus Speedster against the MGB, a car that is still sold in this country, although it made its debut here in 1962.
Also an aging vehicle. Bob Overby's cars. He's parked there forlornly between 5 and 6. Pulled well off onto the right-hand side of the road. It's difficult to know whether he drove it there or whether it drove him there. Osteen now having a relatively clear run here, having pulled out about 3 seconds on Paul Brand in the MGB, who I don't think is going to be able to challenge Osteen, unless when they come up to lap some of the traffic, Osteen gets himself into trouble. Cogbill into the pit. He was running a strong second, but having a very close race with Paul Brand for second place. Osteen going through turn 1, little puff of smoke from the outside wheel. Paul Brand following him, but not close enough, I don't think, to really set up too much of a challenge. There's John Kelly leaving the pits, who started off at the back of the grid.
And it will not be his day here at Road Atlanta today. An Elva Courier, and David, that's another car with a quarter century or more on the road.
Sure is. And they were, I never raced in Elva, but they were very popular when I was racing in the Lotus Elite back in the early 60s.
Well, Mark Donahue got his start in an Elva Courier.
Right.
Worked his way up to the
Now you see the bonnet up on that car. While they inspect the innards. Osteen through turn 7, leading onto that long 5,300 foot back straight. Paul Brand following through the corner.
Okay with you in the truck? We can sit on this one for a while. Right. Right. Yep.
Casual call. Yeah. Steen is slowing up as he leaves turn 5, and Paul Brand is going to take the lead away, and there's 2 Porsche Speedsters parked right next to each other on that straight between 5 and 6.
The national champion, someone hidden behind that flag, Bob Overby, and the pole sitter, John Osteen of Cincinnati, Ohio, are both out of the race, and that will give Paul Brand the lead. Paul Brand in car number 22 is at the head of the field in E production.
Well, that gives Paul a fairly healthy lead over the 3rd place car, or the 2nd place car now, number 19, Dan Gilliland.
Here is Osteen. He has been out of the car, taking a look at the problem. He's going to try to refire it and get back onto the racetrack. As we watch Paul Brand, the leader, out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, in an MGB.
John Osteen still sitting there, though. Obviously not having much luck in firing that car up.
Here is Paul Brand coming up through the S's. He enjoys a 9.5 second lead on Dan Gilliland in car number 19, a Porsche 914 of a more recent vintage than the Speedsters, favored by Overby and the Porsche.
Paul Brand has entertained me at his house in Minneapolis on many occasions when we've been up there racing in the IMSA series. He does a lot of public relations for the Brainerd track. And there's the gap to 2nd place. Pretty healthy lead that Paul Brand has over Dan Gilliland, also in a Porsche.
Here is Osteen, and he has moved his car back onto the race course. And David, whatever the mechanical problem was, it's been repaired at least enough for him to come around to pit road.
It was obviously something serious enough to stop it. It could have been an electrical wire loose or a fuel pipe come off or something. Sort of thing that is not very serious, but of course, if it loses you the race, it's extraordinarily serious. Paul Brand through the bridge, across the start finish line. In 1st place.
Well, this has been a week for Brainerd, Minnesota.
He has about a 9-second lead on car number 19, which is Dan Gilliland of Ann Arbor, Michigan. 3rd is car number 4, Dave Coleman from Tulsa, Oklahoma, in an Alfa Romeo. Jerry Henson. Paul Works. Right.
This has been quite a week for Brainerd International Raceway in Minnesota. The track owner, Jerry Hansen, has already clinched the A-Sports Racing National Championship, and here is his public relations director at Brainerd International Raceway, Paul Brand, out in front of this E-production field.
And somebody has spun coming out of the fire there, just backing onto the track.
And that is the runner-up, Dan Gilliland, car number 19.
Who was running 2nd, who I would now imagine has dropped at least 1 or 2 places. He had a fairly tenuous lead on Dave Coleman in the Alpha. Paul Brand enjoying a fairly extensive 9-second lead there as he goes down the main straight, around that sweeping right-hander and down the dip.
The report is that Osteen is back in the race, but he is way back in 17th position. As we watch leader Paul Brand exit underneath the Dotson Bridge and come downhill back to his start finish line to complete lap number 10 of 18 in this E-Production National Championship race. He's beginning to get into slower traffic, about to overtake Jack Wells of Sulphur, Louisiana in a Porsche. And there is a car off the course at the exit of turn number 1. Another of the 914 Porsche automobiles. Paul Brand overlapping Jack Wells.
Sulphur, Louisiana. That's worse than Upper Boddington.
Here's your runner-up, car number 4, Dave Coleman of Tulsa, Oklahoma, in an Alfa Romeo Spider, and he has a tentative lead on the third place car, Bob Kirby, in car number 20. From Oceanside, California, that is a Porsche 914. How about showing a second and third spot? That's fairly close. Numbers 4 and 20. Coming down the back straightaway, second and third spot. Second with a tentative margin is car number 4, the Alfa Romeo, belonging to Dave Coleman. And just going by is car number 20, Bob Kirby. He is the third place machine driving a Porsche. The marque rivalry here, David, is really something. Italian Alfa Romeos, German Porsches, and the British MGs, and to populate this field.
Yes, it's a good class, this e-production race, and it gives people a chance to use these cars for a long time, because most of these models are now out of print, as it were. Dave Coleman's had a tremendous race. He started off 10th. He's now running second. And Robert Kirby started off 7th, so he's lost a couple of places to Coleman, but he's running stronger in third now, by the look of things. These three lead cars, Paul Brand, who qualified second, now leading quite comfortably from Coleman, who is being fairly hard pressed there by Robert Kirby.
In fact, Dave Coleman, the runner-up, has the only car in this race that is still being mass-produced, the Alfa Romeo 1750. Back up front to Paul Brand, car number 22, racing out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, in an MGB. Brand started on the outside pole, dropped to third on the first lap, and inherited the lead when John Osteen suffered mechanical difficulty and drove off the course back at turn 5. Now Osteen is back in the race, but he is well back in the field, back in 17th position, and he is being shown as 1 lap behind the leader. Here is Brand coming back down the hill and back to the start-finish line. And there is Osteen, and David, he's off course at the exact same spot as last time.
He's fiddling around in the back of his car. Obviously, he has some problem with the engine and that little Porsche speedster. He sat on the pole with a pretty convincing lead. He was over a second quicker than his nearest competitor. And of course, it doesn't matter if it stops. It doesn't matter how fast you've been going before. There's a yellow flag being waved there. There must be something up there between turn 3 and 4. Paul Brand still looking good, but he had a yellow flag wave.
Is it significant, do you think, that the two Porsche speedsters of Overby and Osteen are both off course in the same spot, and that Osteen stopped in the same place twice?
It seems a bit extraordinary. There is quite a steep hill running up there to turn 5, where you see Paul now. He's going slightly downhill, but it could be that uphill run is giving them some sort of fuel problem. I remember catching fire at turn 5 there in a little BMW that I raced for 3 years, and that suddenly set itself alight going through turn 5, which was a bit unfortunate when the fuel line popped off. Maybe they have something like that.
Let's go back to second spot. There's quite a battle there, we're told.
Yeah.
Another
Porsche speedster in the same place.
Is off course. That is car number 52, Dale Regal, of Cine Valley, California. Now he's in an MG, so it is not apparently not a Porsche problem.
Somebody in the crowd.
Runner-up, car number 4, Dave Coleman of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and right behind him, a hotly contested battle for the third spot. Dan Gilliland in number 19 and Bob Kirby in number 20. Both Porsche 914s, and they are running hard for third position, though well back of the leader.
And they're running hard for second, because I'm sure they're making ground on Dave Coleman.
There is Coleman just going out of your screen as we watch third and fourth spot. Gilliland has fourth at the moment. And Kirby.
Well, the leader, Paul Brand, has completed 13 laps, and so there's plenty of time. There's 5 laps left to go for these three to make some major changes. Dave Coleman could easily get this place in second spot. I see smoke coming off the left side of the car. That might have been a tire. It might have been oil smoke.
Dave Coleman in car number 4 is the runner-up. The battle for third. The two Porsches contesting it are Gilliland in number 19 and Kirby in number 20. Gilliland from Michigan and Kirby from California. It is likely they have not raced against each other this year.
This is the thing about this national running field. A lot of these riders haven't raced against each other. Sometimes the same guys come down to the same divisions. Obviously, they've raced against each other extensively. But look at that lead of Coleman for second place there is gradually disappearing.
Coming out of the hairpin at the south end of the race course, second, third, and fourth position. Coleman, car number 4, the Alfa Romeo, is second. In third, number 19, Dan Gilliland, and fourth, Bob Kirby. In car number 20, identically turned out Porsche 914s graphically. Both dark with the block white numerals. Look as if they've been prepared in the same shop, but actually the two cars were built over 1,500 miles apart.
Good point.
Report from turn 5 is that our pole sitter, John Osteen, is back underway once again.
Gilliland and Kirby definitely making ground on Dave Coleman, and they've got 4 laps left to run. One of those, or both those, take away second place for Coleman, who's been looking pretty strong. Done a good job, come up from 10th place on the grid to second overall.
3 different makes and 3 different nationalities of automobiles represented in the front positions behind the MG that is leading of Paul Brand. Here is the Alfa Romeo number 4 of Dave Coleman and the German Porsche number 19 of Dan Gilliland. Car number 20, Kirby, the 4th place car, has lost quite a bit of ground.
But Gilliland has made up a lot. He's setting Dave Coleman up now. I imagine he'll try and draft him down the straight and do something nasty to him as they come under the bridge. There's our leader.
And there's the 4th place car upside down at turn 5. He never exited the turn. That is Bob Kirby of Oceanside, California. Has put his Porsche on his roof, but as he climbs out of the car, he appears to be unhurt.
He appears to be totally unhurt, which is very, very fortunate.
Judging from his position at the outside of the racetrack, looks like he might have got a wheel off in the dirt.
I think he must have and flipped it over.
Lapping by a slower car, here is the race for second position in E-Production. Dave Coleman from Tulsa, Oklahoma, along with Dan Gilliland of Ann Arbor, Michigan. It was a 3-car race until just half a lap ago when Bob Kirby went off the course at turn number 5 and flipped over.
Coleman has 3 laps to try and keep Dan Gilliland behind him, but I don't think he's going to have much luck. Gilliland seems to have the faster machine at this stage in the race.
And these are 2 remarkably different machines in construction. The Alfa Romeo at the head of this pack, the 2nd place machine, is a front-engine automobile with a dual overhead camshaft 4-cylinder engine, while the Porsche uses a version of the flat 4-cylinder Volkswagen engine that you're familiar with from the Volkswagen Bug. And that engine is mounted in the middle of the car behind the driver. Nevertheless, they appear able to be quite equally matched.
They certainly do. I would say that the Porsche, if anything, has the edge on him.
Back up front, car number 22, Paul Brand, the MGB out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. In his professional life, the public relations director for Brainerd International Raceway. So he gets a steady diet of road racing. The fight is for second, and here is Dave Coleman in the Alfa Romeo and Dan Gilliland in the Porsche.
Gilliland has definitely got more steam down the straight. He's using the draft there of Coleman and pulls alongside as they go through that right-hand sweep.
Second place battle, the Porsche on the left of your screen, the Alfa Romeo to the right. Coming up the hill, and the Alfa goes back in front.
Drawing on the braking there. It's a very tricky place to brake at the top of that hill. And you can see it there as that car, Dave Coleman's really slid around.
Gilliland keeping tight tabs on the 2nd place car.
2 laps to go. Gilliland having a go going into 3.
As we watch the leader move up the hill and off the bottom of your screen, we move back to that battle for second place. A lap and a half to go for the E-Production National Championship. Here is Dave Coleman, Tulsa, Oklahoma Alfa Romeo driver. Coming up the hill and hard in pursuit is Dan Gilliland, the Porsche driver from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
He'll curve his car upside down, wheels up. A rather unfortunate way to end his bid for a national championship.
Paul Brand, coming down that 5,000-foot back straightaway, is all alone in the lead. They'll be looking at 1 lap to go next time by the start-finish line. The race for second is a hot one. Coleman, car number 4. Kirby, or rather Gilliland in car number 19, drafting past.
Okay, now maybe Coleman's thinking there. He let him go by fairly early on the straight, so maybe he'll be able to take the advantage of at the end of the straight. It just depends how much power he's got compared to the Porsche. This is where he really took second place back last lap. Down at the bottom of the book here. Can he do it again this time?
Gilliland holds the line and holds second spot underneath the Knoxon Bridge. And now coming downhill to turn number 12, where it will be 1 lap to go. In this fight for second position, the leader is out of sight. That is Paul Brand, the outside pole sitter. This is the race for second. Gilliland in the Porsche, now second, and Coleman in the Alfa Romeo third, heading uphill towards the S's. There is your leader, Paul Brand in car number 22. The MGB, second fastest qualifier. We look back and pick up the race for second. And Gilliland is stretching out a bit of distance on Coleman.
Well, it's that old story. Coleman was obviously slightly holding him up. I mean, Gilliland did make a lot of ground on Coleman, and when that happens and the guy's testing him out, well, it's not always easy just to drive straight by. But having got by, he is now pulling out a substantial lead on Coleman.
Leader comes out of the hook and into the 5,000-foot back straightaway. Paul Brand, all by himself in the MG. Coming out behind him is one slower lapped car, about to be lapped by the second place machine, Dan Gilliland. At the bottom of your screen, car number 19 and car number 4, Dave Coleman. In third, does not seem to have nearly as much punch down that straightaway.
In fact, he seems to have disappeared altogether. It looks like he's stopped.
And that is the 4th time in this race that we've lost one of the top 3 racers. Down the hill, Paul Brand, who took over the lead when Osteen dropped out at turn 5, coming and taking the checkered flag to win the E-Production National Championship, and that will send 2 national championships back to Brainerd International Raceway in Minnesota. Track owner Jerry Hampson won the A-Sports racing class, and Paul Brand has taken E-Production. Dan Gilliland will finish in the 2nd position, and well back at the checker is Dave Coleman in the Alfa Romeo. So score at MG, a win for the British cars, the German Porsche in 2nd, and the Italian Alfa Romeo in 3rd.
A truly satisfying international result. Paul Brand waving ecstatically. This is his first national championship, and he'll be very, very pleased to do that.
He came here with an enviable record. He's qualified on the pole 3 times this year, and he has 4 first-place finishes coming to Road Atlanta. 31 years old, out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Look at him clapping his hands in the air, hands off the wheel.
Well, Paul Brand is a very enthusiastic person. He's a great asset to the Brainerd International Raceway. We've done a lot of work together. He's entertained me many times up there in Minneapolis, and he's a very friendly and, as you can see, obviously fairly happy that he's won this championship, I'd say.
Now, he could be waving like that to keep warm. It's only about 45 or 50 degrees out there. But that's a happy winner.
Yeah. Very, very happy man.
John Osteen, the pole sitter, who stopped at turn 5 twice with mechanical difficulties, wound up 13th. David's on his way downstairs. Okay.
Raceway, the Quaker State MGA. He's won it. He's happy.
One of those on here or on
7. You know that? There's nobody out there.
reproduction. That will make the show.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
How about that shit, Hobbs? Yeah.
Let's keep going at the same level. I want you to keep going at the same level, all right?
Robert? Very good. That's what I told you this morning. Oh, God, David, how about that stuff? It's usually me doing you.
Keep going.
Hi there.
Paul Brand, E-Production National Champion. You've just achieved a very serious objective. Are you happy at all?
A little bit, David. You know, normally I get to do this to you. This is really a change. How about them apples? I bit my lip on the last lap. It really hurt.
I think Paul Brand is fairly pleased that he won the national champion. What more can one say?
Well, yeah, I get pretty emotional in the car, and I work real hard to control it, but when it's over, it just comes out, David. I'm young, and not like some of these old-timers where all of this you take in stride, you know? The first time is always the best, right?
Any more?
No, that's enough. Unless you got more time, I'll keep talking.
We got all the time. That's Paul Brand, your E-Production National Champion. Thanks very much, and I think he's quite pleased about it.
Yes, I am, David, and thank you.
Congratulations.
How about that?
How about that?
Wonderful.